Egypt was not an accident. It was a setup. Darkness did not fall on Israel by mistake. It was scheduled. Before chains ever touched their hands, before Pharaoh ever spoke, before Egypt ever became a prison, God had already written the ending. If this stirs something in you, like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe to the Bible Project for more cinematic Bible stories. There is a mystery hidden in Scripture, a question that has unsettled minds for generations. Why would God lead His own people into a land that would enslave them? Why Egypt? Why suffering? Why the silence before deliverance? What if Egypt was never a detour, but a design? What if the place that looked like bondage was actually preparation? Tonight, we uncover the truth that Egypt was not an accident. It was a setup, a promise in the dark. The night was quiet, but eternity was speaking. A man stood under a sky filled with stars, countless, immeasurable, alive with promise. His name was Abraham, and God spoke. Genesis 15:13-14. Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation, whom they shall serve, will I judge. And afterward shall they come out with great substance. Before Israel existed as a nation, before Jacob was born, before Joseph dreamed, God had already declared Egypt, not as a mistake, but as a stage, a place where a people would be formed through pressure, through time, through fire. The dream that triggered destiny, a young boy wrapped in favor, Joseph, 17 years old, but already carrying a future too heavy for his present. And then the dreams came, sheaves bowing, stars submitting, a destiny rising above his brothers. But dreams have consequences. Jealousy ignited, whispers turned into plots, and one day, in a lonely field, they seized him. No warning, no mercy. Hands grabbed, voices shouted, and suddenly the dreamer was falling into a pit, empty, dark, silent. The first step into Egypt. Sold, but not abandoned. Chains replaced the coat of many colors. The favored son became a slave, sold for silver, carried across deserts, delivered into Egypt, a land foreign, powerful, intimidating. But heaven was not absent. Genesis 39:2, and the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man. Even in slavery, God was building something, because Egypt was not about location, it was about transformation. The silent years of preparation, Potiphar's house, became Joseph's training ground, not for survival but for rulership. He learned systems, he learned structure, he learned leadership in silence. But then another fall, false accusation. A prison door slammed shut, darkness again. No dreams now, no audience, no applause, just time, just waiting, just silence. But heaven was still working, because sometimes God hides you before He reveals you. The prison that trained a king years past. And Joseph remained faithful, not because it was easy, but because it was necessary. In that prison, he interpreted dreams, not for fame, but for purpose. And one day, the palace would need him, because Egypt was not just preparing Joseph. Joseph was being prepared for Egypt. The moment everything shifted, a king troubled, Pharaoh, disturbed by dreams he could not understand. 7 fat cows swallowed by 7 lean ones. 7 full ears devoured by emptiness. Fear filled the palace. No answers until a forgotten name resurfaced. Joseph, brought out, quickly, shaved, changed, presented, a prisoner, standing before a king, and in one moment, everything shifted. Wisdom that rewrote a nation. Joseph spoke, not with arrogance, but with divine clarity. Genesis 41-16 KJV, "It is not in me. God shall give Pharaoh an answer of peace, 7 years of abundance, 7 years of famine, a warning, a strategy, a solution." And Pharaoh saw it, not just wisdom, but spirit. Genesis 41-38 KJV. Can we find such a one as this, as a man in whom the Spirit of God is? And just like that, the slave became ruler, second only to Pharaoh. Egypt was now under Joseph. The real reason for Egypt. Then the famine came, not local, global. Nations trembled. Crops failed. Hope dried up. But Egypt stood because Joseph had prepared. And then they came, his brothers, hungry, desperate, unaware. The same hands that betrayed him now bowed before him. The dream fulfilled. The revelation, Joseph wept, not in anger, but in understanding. And then he spoke words that would echo through eternity. Genesis 50-20. "But as for you, ye thought evil against me, but God meant it unto good, to save much people alive." Egypt was never about Joseph alone. It was about preservation, about positioning, about purpose. God sent him ahead, not to suffer, but to save. Ephraim, preservation to multiplication. Israel moved into Egypt, not as slaves, but as honored guests. And they grew, from a family to a people, from a people to a nation. But then a new king arose, who did not know Joseph, and Egypt changed. Favor turned to fear, opportunity turned to oppression, and the setup entered its next phase. The fire of oppression, chains returned, whips cracked, bricks multiplied, burden increased. But something else grew too: strength, unity, identity. Because oppression was forming a nation. Exodus 1:12. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. Egypt was no longer just a place, it had become a furnace. The deliverer rises a baby, hidden, saved from death, raised in the palace, yet born for freedom. Moses, 40 years in Egypt, 40 years in the wilderness, and then the fire spoke. A bush burning, but not consumed. God called him. And Egypt would never be the same again. The collision of power plagues fell. Water turned to blood. Darkness covered the land. Death passed through Egypt. God was not just delivering Israel, he was judging Egypt, just as he promised. Abraham, the night of release, a lamb slain, blood on doorposts, silence in the night, then cries. Egypt broke, Pharaoh released them, and Israel walked out, not empty, but loaded. Exodus 12:36. And they spoiled the Egyptians. Exactly as God said, the truth revealed. Now the pattern is clear. Joseph, preservation. Egypt, formation. Oppression, transformation. Moses, deliverance. Egypt was never the problem. It was the process. Sometimes the place that feels like a setback is actually a setup. The delay, the silence, the struggle. It's not random. It's preparation. Because God does not just take people to destinations, He builds them for it. If this opened your eyes to something deeper in Scripture, subscribe to the Bible Project for more cinematic Bible stories that bring the Word to life. And remember, Egypt was not the end, it was the beginning.